been quite a while since I've done a trolley problem memes video, and I thought it would be kind of cool to get back to it and to focus on some of the great memes that are out there that tie in directly with philosophy. So there's quite a few out there. I picked the top 10. We should remind ourselves what the trolley problem is. There's two main formulations that you can see. Actually, there's lots and lots of other formulations, but the first one has a trolley and a divergence in a track, as you can see here. If you let the trolley keep going on its normal path, it's going to crush and kill 5 people. And if you flip the switch, then one person will die in place of 5. Another variation on this is to have a fat man that you push off of the bridge who will actually stop the trolley. So once again, sacrificing one person to save 5. And the idea is that how you approach this problem shows whether you're more deontological or more utilitarian, and there is no proper solution to the thing. As a matter of fact, there's an anti-solution, which many people have proposed, called multi-track drifting, but we won't talk about that here. So let's take a look at the memes. Here's the first one. I like this one. You're a podgy utilitarian. You do not yet have the sufficient mass to stop a trolley, but with your current dietary habits, you're slowly getting there. Every day on your way to work, you have to walk across a railway overpass. Is it your obligation to eat enough to obtain trolley stopping weight in case a trolley problem one day occurs? And now, a utilitarian, of course, would say, no, because there's other factors involved. But this is a great way to approach the problem and to think about it in utilitarian fashion. So that's kind of a funny one. The next one, playing off of Albert Camus, you see that's his face right there saying there's only one serious philosophical trolley problem. Of course, that's a reference to his beginning of the myth of Sisyphus, where he says that there's one serious philosophical problem, and that is of suicide. Of course, he's going to change that later on in The Rebel to murder as well. But, you notice that it's a question of whether he flips the switch or doesn't. And if he doesn't, I guess it runs over him. The next one has got 2 different philosophers, and these are 2 social contract theorists that we often oppose to each other when we're teaching them in intro to philosophy classes or in textbooks. So the state of nature according to Hobbes or Locke. In Hobbes, the trolley will continue towards B, that is on the path, which isn't going to hurt anybody, unless you or the stranger redirect it towards the other one. Will you hope the stranger doesn't pull the lever, or will you do it before he does? Presumably, whoever pulls the lever first gets it to go towards the other person. And Hobbes is, of course, very famous for having said that in the state of nature, we can't trust each other. Life is nasty, brutish, and short. And there's causes for human conflict, which even stem from our own rationality. The Lockean trolley problem, instead, in the state of nature, we're actually quite good to each other. The trolley will continue towards B. Everything's fine. There's no flips or levers to flip or anything like that. It's a bit of a misrepresentation, I would say, since the state of nature is a little bit more complicated than that. But it's a good meme nonetheless. Here's one that's even funnier. So you know who that is, right? That's Ayn Rand. And she's got the trolley, and she's definitely going to flip the switch to protect one's beloved husband. Now, of course, she doesn't have one, but a lover it could be, right? Versus 1,000 strangers. This is coming from her discussion in the virtue of selfishness, when she talks about how it is that you could sacrifice yourself or sacrifice other things for a beloved person. And in this case, you'd sacrifice any unlimited number of people who you really don't care much about. The next one, this is a really good one. I may actually use this in class. The veil of ignorance, the trolley problem. So veil of ignorance is coming from John Rawls, A Theory of Justice. And the idea is that when we're like reconstituting a society as essentially as a thought experiment, we do so behind a veil of ignorance. We have no idea where we're going to end up in the society. So the idea is that we'd make the society a bit more equitable, a bit more just. We'd limit people's exposure to things that make them vulnerable for irrational reasons. So in this case, you don't know where you're going to be in the trolley problem, but you have to choose the scenario in advance. But of course, the only choice that they give you here is, do you want the lever to be pulled? And I think the rational thing to do in that case would be, in fact, to pull the lever, although you could say, well, you don't know whether you're going to be a more utilitarian or more deontological with this, so maybe there's no solution actually possible in this case. Not quite sure. Now we get into the versions of the trolley problem where bringing philosophers in is actually turning it into a different kind of problem or issue. And so we've got Zeno here, right? This is, of course, Zeno of Elea. And the trolley problem is, in this case, turned into the fact that you could never actually crush anybody, because if you remember your basic, pre-Socratic philosophy, Zeno had said, well, you got to cross the halfway point, and then you got to get to the halfway point between that and the object, and then halfway point of that and halfway. So you never actually complete it. These were arguments that Zeno was giving to support his teacher Parmenides' contention that change in motion was impossible. So that's really kind of a different trolley problem. And we can say something similar as well with this interesting variation as well. The Chinese room trolley problem, of course, coming from John Searle's Chinese room issues. A man who does not understand philosophy is enclosed within a room. He is continually fed trolley problems on slips of paper. He answers them all according to a fixed set of instructions inside the room. He manages to convince some of the people outside the room he's really a philosopher. However, does he really understand philosophy? So this is analogous to a problem about, artificial intelligence and whether a computer could be said to really understand. And notice that what it picks in the end, its output is always multi-track drifting, which is let's kill everybody. So that's kind of an interesting one. Here is the last of these problems, the ship of Theseus trolley problem. This is changing things considerably. If you do not pull the lever, one person will be crushed to death instantly. If you do pull the lever, the trolley will divert onto a 1,000-mile stretch of track with one person tied down at the end of it. So somebody's getting killed no matter what. If, as the trolley rolls down this 1,000-mile track, a crew systematically switches out every piece of the original trolley with a replacement part, did the trolley which you diverted kill the man? So this is changed from a moral problem into a question about the identity, the metaphysical identity of the trolley. And, again, very different kind of problem here, isn't it? Here's another where the trolley problem is being, you could say, reimagined in a somewhat different way. So this is the Arther Schopenhauer trolley problem. Schopenhauer, of course, was, pretty pessimistic about life. So let's just see what this one says. According to Schopenhauer's antinatalist view, the sum of all human experience is overwhelmingly negative. Therefore, pulling the lever would only take one person out of this dreaded existence and cause the 5 to continue living with horrible pain associated with life. Assuming this pessimistic philosophical view, would the utilitarian thing be, for the first time, to not pull the lever? So the utilitarian thing, mixing utilitarianism and Schopenhauer together, of course, which are not exactly the same. And Schopenhauer, by the way, doesn't think that everybody's aware of how crappy life is. So what you've really got are a whole bunch of Schopenhauerians tied to the tracks, people who've had the sort of vision or insight that he has. And it reminds me of the old joke about masochists and sadists, right? the masochist is the one who says, hurt me, and the sadist is the one who says, no, I won't. So this is kind of a funny one. Now, I saved a final one. This is actually coming from a cartoon, and this is really quite great. You notice you've got philosophy convention sightseeing tour, and the guy's saying, everyone, the trolley is out of control. You have 3 seconds to bail out before we're going too fast. And it says, by the time we realized it wasn't a thought experiment, it was too late, which probably would be the case with philosophers. So this is a set of new trolley memes. Well, not really new, just new in this video. Some of these have been floating around for quite a while, but I thought you might get a kick out of them, at least as much as I have. So I may do more of these in the future if I find some other interesting trolley memes to take a look at that I haven't put into this or the previous 2 trolley meme videos. But for the time being, that's all, folks.